Hi everybody, welcome to our next episode in our training for Boston Marathon series, and this one we'll talk about choosing a race. Now there are many different race courses as there are races out there, and choosing which one works best for you, of course, is always a personal preference, but generally speaking, the fastest courses are either those that are pretty flat, maybe just with very slight rolling hills, or net downhill courses. So besides that, there are a lot of other different factors that you should consider coming in. Remus again making his appearance in here. So I listed out 7 items that you may want to consider when choosing your race. The first one, of course, is the time of year. For most everybody, cooler temperatures are much preferred over obviously hot temperatures. So for me, and I think most folks, ideally in the lower to mid 40s is optimum for running. Second thing you probably want to consider is the location. Do you want to choose a race that's close to where you're training, or would you prefer to make it a destination race? Again, that'll probably factor into what type of course as well. The third thing, and I know this probably sounds obvious, but a lot of people, you may forget this, is you really want to check the schedule to make sure that you can fit whatever training you're going to do around your schedule. If you need to go away for a little bit, you're going to be able to do some running while you're away, and if not, how long a break are you going to have to take. Fourth item is, are you going to train by yourself or with just a couple of folks or part of a bigger running group? So, and of course that factors back into your schedule. If you need to make sure not only coordinate your schedule, but if you are doing it with other folks, you need to coordinate everybody's schedule. So then a couple other items, if you like to run with earbuds in, some race courses don't allow them. I don't ever use them, so that doesn't matter for me. Also, where are the fueling stops? I always carry my fuel nutrition with me, so that doesn't matter where they are. I just see where they are ahead of time, plan it out, so I know when I'm going to refill my water bottle with. I use Tailwind, so when I'm going to refill, I kind of have that planned out ahead of time. But if you don't like to carry it with you, then you want to not only see what the fuel stops are, but what nutrition they're offering. Goos, gels, or primarily I think the drink, what type of energy drink they have. And the last thing, and of course probably the most important, as we talked about, is the race course itself. My fastest time ever was on a pancake flat race course. My second fastest though was one that it was pretty flat, but it had some just gentle rolls throughout, and in hindsight I felt the best after that one, and I know I could have run faster. I've only run one really steep downhill that I ran for speed, and that was in Colorado, and boy, that race kicked my butt worse than any other one I've ever run. It's funny, by mile 12, all of a sudden my quads, well, up to mile 12 I was actually flying along just great, but then mile 12 my quads started aching a little bit. And actually by mile 17 my quads are trash, and my quads have never really hurt on a race before. So it was obviously the downhill, and probably maybe something to do with the altitude as well. So with all that being said, the race that I chose to try and qualify Boston this time around is the Peak to Creek Marathon, which is a net downhill here in North Carolina. So I know you're probably thinking, well, why are you choosing a downhill? Well, I will say I've learned a lot since that Colorado Marathon. Probably one of the biggest mistake I made training for that particular race was I thought being downhill, my best thing to do was run mainly flat areas, and that's what I did, and I shouldn't have. I should have stuck training to even uphills and downhills. That's number one. Two, we were in Colorado, and this was a destination we'd never been there before, and so we got out and did a bunch of hiking. Not a whole lot, but we did some hiking the day before the race. So you might want to keep that in mind if you do make it a destination race that you decide to choose for for your goal race, is try and take it easy the day before. And the third thing was my nutrition regime wasn't back then what it is now, and primarily I've just gotten a lot smarter about it, as well as my body's actually gotten adapted better to taking drinks and nutrition throughout the race, and I know how to do it smarter. So there's a few other things that factored in to choosing Peach Creek, and they relate back to those 7 items we talked about. The time of year here in North Carolina should be great. It's late October, nice cool mountains. It's close to home, so we'll be able to keep our routine schedule really right up to the day before. And also there's a huge group of folks going from my run club as well as my neighbor. So it's great when you get a bunch of folks who all working towards the same goal. A lot of people are going to run this with the expressly intent of trying to qualify for Boston. A little bit more info about the Peach Creek Marathon. It used to be called the Ridge to Bridge Marathon. It's very small. It's limited to 400 participants, so it sells out quickly. It starts off, the first 6 miles are generally actually fairly flat, few uphills down. It's a few uphills as well mixed in, but then the next 7.5 are fairly steep downhill, and then the final 14 are much more gradual downhill. Again, I carry my nutrition with me, so I'll be able to plan out when I'm gonna refill my water and my drink, and I'll carry the goos. And it goes to a good cause, this marathon as well. The proceeds go to Burke Recovery. Burke, that's the county that where the marathon takes place. And finally, they note that this has been rated the 3rd fastest marathon in the U.S. So really, I could have just started this video with choose the Peach Creek Marathon because it's the right time of year and it's the 3rd fastest marathon in the U.S. So, but in any case, so there you go, Peach Creek Marathon here in the mountains of North Carolina. Hopefully, it's going to yield me a Boston qualifying time. But of course, all that depends on training, which we'll discuss on our next episode. So, thanks for watching.
Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel.